Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, she has over 20 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within a week, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into a new setting and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 50 years.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios.
Are you ready? Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the dragon.
On the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes, along with the great Caveman Rick, the baby kicker. How you doing today, brother?
Pretty good, man. Yourself?
I am doing well. We also have Bone Crusher back there, helping everything run smooth. BC, how you doing this afternoon?
Friday.
It
doing
is
good in the hood.
As you normally say when you walk in here on Fridays, Fry-yay. Yes, sir, indeed. 850-215-6290 is the number to call, and that is the Red 7T's phone line, the brand that brands you. Go to red7ts.com over there. Well, that's on the internet, and they're also based out of Crestview. Red 7T's, they are the sponsor of our phone line. So give us a call, 850-215-6290. Our call-in question of the day in honor of National Pizza Party Day, which you might ask me, how did you find, or like, why, what makes you, how do you find out that it's National Pizza Party Day unless you're going searching? No, I got a Papa John's text today that said it's National Pizza Party Day, so I had a totally different call-in question of the day. It said, you know what, let's keep it fun and light. In honor of National Pizza Party Day, what kind of pizza are you having? From the crust to the toppings, you can even give us the place that you like to order from, or do you like to make it homemade? All of that good stuff. Call or text your answer to the Red 7T's phone line at 850-215-6290. Atlanta Braves coming up tonight. They are renewing a rivalry with the Boston Red Sox. Coverage will start at 6 o'clock for a 6:10 first pitch. Cannot wait for that. Tonight it's going to be Chris Sale going up against Garrett Crochet. Should be a great one. So keep it locked in here to ESPN Northwest Florida. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida, brought to you locally by Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing. Got a great guest lineup for you guys this afternoon. Chris Gollin is going to call in. We're going to be talking some baseball. He's got some thoughts on Pete Rose. We're going to, just kind of go around the whole entire league of Major League Baseball. Got some good questions for him. And then we're going to finish it off. He's a Yankees fan, so I've got 5 questions dealing with Aaron Judge, and we're going to have him answer those rapid fire style. At 4:40, we'll play a little trivia. Then we'll dive right back in to our we'll dive a little deeper, rather, to the Braves and the Red Sox. That should be a great series, a lot of great series across the board in Major League Baseball this weekend, as it's somewhat of a rivalry weekend, and one of the most notable series is going to be the Yankees and the Mets, as Juan Soto makes his return to the Bronx.
Yeah, crazy. You say, talk about rivalries. You got my Phillies playing the Pirates of all things. Not really rivals, just same state.
Yeah, same state.
Across state. So I guess you could say that. But, different divisions and whatnot. So not really a rivalry there, if you will.
Yeah, so I read this really cool article, skimmed through this really cool article on ESPN yesterday talking about the different rivalries. And it was going through each series this week that had rivalry implications to it, and then at the end of each little section pertaining to that series, it would say which teams were their actual rivals in order of importance. And so for the Phillies, it said Mets, and then the Braves gaining ground. So to me, how do you feel about that as a Phillies fan? No Braves implications here. Are you are the Braves or the Mets the bigger rival for the Phillies?
It's kind of weird that you're asking this now. I guess when I was younger, probably because I grew up in South Jersey outside of Philadelphia,
right.
Geographically the Mets because of how close it is to Philly. Now that I'm down in the South, and I have been since 96, 97, to me anyways, it seems like it has more Braves because that's what I'm seeing all the time. That's what I'm hearing all the time, obviously, right? And, I mean, if you go back to and you look throughout the history of baseball, like in my lifetime anyways, the Mets actually were a meaningful baseball team back like in the 80s.
Yeah,
Doc
for
Gooden,
sure.
Darryl Strawberry,
and they had the Greenies.
Like that.
They were great.
And more than the Greenies, too, You had like Doc Gooden, a cocaine bear, or whatever you might want to call him. But, and like Darryl Strawberry. But so because of that, when I was a kid, I think the Phillies Mets, and then now it's become, I think, more Braves, just because I think the Braves have been more significant.
Right,
in the last 25 years, I guess so, compared to, the way the Mets have been.
And as a Braves fan, I think that I hate the Mets more than the Phillies, but I'm more worried. This year could be different, but on a regular basis, I'm more worried about what the Phillies are doing more so than what the Mets are doing, especially at this point in time of the season, because the Mets are going to find a way to do what?
Man it up.
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't. I'm clean. No ink. I got scars.
Yeah, true. Well, the reason why I was thinking that, what's one of your favorite things to say when Braves fans start talking?
Chop off.
I think that you should take one of your fingers. I'm not going to say which one, but chop off. No. Chop off your finger. I'm not trying to do
man, you have to do a middle finger, too.
Yeah, well, that's why I said you pick the finger, but I already know what finger you were going to pick.
As a Phillies fan, that'd be kind of cool if you got, find a way to figure out some kind of design that's got like a Phillies logo incorporated or some Philly fanatic or what have you, along with the tomahawk and the chop off. That might be kind of cool, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Gotta be creative, though. I got to figure that out. That might take a little while to figure something out like that. Our call-in question, text in question of the day in honor of National Pizza Party Day. What kind of pizza are you having, from the crust to the toppings, even the place you like to order from? Do you want to do that now, or are we going to wait? I was going to add one more thing too about the Mets and the Braves and the Phillies kind of thing. One thing too I've noticed too, because obviously now that I'm older and gambling's legal now, and I've gotten into that somewhat, I find myself betting some on the Braves because of, we here at the station, we obviously broadcast the games, being an affiliate, so know a little bit more about them. Hearing guys like Sam Peoples on here talking about them all the time. So, I know a lot about the Phillies because I follow them, but through just osmosis, just picking stuff up, just, through the airwaves, just sitting in the car, listening to the radio, being in here, whether I'm fully paying attention 100% or not, picking up stuff. So that just makes it easier to have that little extra knowledge to help you, make decisions when you're doing stuff like that.
And the secondary part of that statement right there is that subconsciously you're becoming a Braves fan.
No.
Oh, come on. We are live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. Go to cbcconstruction.com if you're looking for a job or for all of your construction needs. You can also call them at 850-747-3815. Again, great show lined up for you. Chris Gollin's going to be calling in at 4:20. 5 o'clock, we're going to be talking NHL Stanley Cup playoffs with Andrew Weiss, and then we'll wrap it up with the North Bay Haven softball coach Butch Bernard at 5:40. North Bay Haven got a huge win last night. I was in attendance for that game last night, hanging out with Banji Bombadella. Coach Butch Bernard was letting me hang out in the dugout with them as well, so that was a lot of fun, being able to hear all the cheers. Just a great atmosphere, beautiful ballpark over there at North Bay Haven, and they got the win 6-3 to move to the Final Four. I mean, a great performance last night on the mound by Addison Mallon, and then obviously Kaylee Goodpaster. Across the board, they just had they had a great night last night, and it wasn't without drama. I mean, 6-3. It was a heck of a game. Also, Bailey Gladden had herself a heck of a night as well. But North Bay Haven moving on to the Final Four. More on that one with Coach Butch Bernard at 5:40. Arnold, tough one for them last night. They were down 3-2 late in the game. Then they tie it back up, get it to extra innings. They go into the 8th inning, and Fort Walton Beach, being the home team, was able to walk it off. They win 4-3, so Fort Walton Beach will be heading to the Final Four. And congratulations, kudos to the Arnold Marlins on a great season. Congratulations to Bree Clark on a great career. Over 1,000 strikeouts in her career. As Banji was making such a big deal about that on Wednesday, because it is a big deal. And I don't know if we'll... records are meant to be broken, but she broke the Bay County record early on into her career, and everything beyond that was just a plus. So great career by Bree Clark and any of the other seniors that play for the Arnold Marlins softball team, and kudos to a hard-fought season. Also, for Holmes County baseball, they beat Lafayette last night 2-1. That is their second state title for Holmes County since 2022. So impressive stuff. Congratulations to our neighbors to the north over there for the Holmes County Blue Devils. This is a story that's been circulating from on our Channel 7, Channel 13, and all across social media as well. I'm not giving any sort of opinion here, just reading what has been out there in case you've been on the road today and haven't been able to see things. There's a Port St. Joe coach and paraprofessional who resigned from his job last week, has been charged with battery. The Gulf County Sheriff's Office started investigating 46-year-old Eric Keon McNair after allegations were brought forth regarding battery of a student. According to the Gulf County Sheriff's Office, once investigators reviewed the video, interviews were scheduled with the Child Protection Team. The incident remains under investigation, and additional charges are possible. I will give one opinion. Don't put your hands on children. There's video evidence of it, so it's not me saying you shouldn't do this. If that's what happened, this happened. And there could be more charges that come along from other students. I don't even have children, and it pains me to know something like this is happening in our school systems, because it's bad enough that both parents have to work full-time jobs these days in order to be able to sustain a household, and so therefore they're leaving their kids in your care, expecting that when they come pick them up after their day of work that they're going to be at least not beaten and battered, right? So tough situation there, and they will get that worked out. And if there's any updates, we will share that right here on the Afternoon Underdogs.
Yeah, nasty video. Seeing the video, it's more than just putting hands. I think they threw a volleyball or something at the kid's head, and then grabbed a hold of him. And like you said before about putting your hands on a kid, let alone a kid, just anybody. Right. You don't need to be doing that regardless of the situation. But, so hopefully, justice will be served one way or the other.
There you go. We had some spring football going on last night. We've got spring football going on tonight as well. The two teams that I have scores from, I haven't heard from Arnold or Bozeman. Don't know what their schedules were looking like, but heard from some of the other coaches. Mosley, they had 3 different games, not full games, obviously, probably closer to quarters there. Their varsity teams won against Crestview 21-7. Mosley beat Fort Walton Beach 21-0. And then Niceville, that rivalry that will continue to go on strong this year, I believe will be over there in Niceville this year, and that's going to be a heck of a game. But Mosley was able to beat Niceville in the spring game 14-7. How about North Bay Haven? Now, Coach Siegel was not coaching. He is going to be the head coach of the North Bay Haven Buccaneers, but he's still enjoying retirement. He was just there watching and enjoying on the sideline. But North Bay Haven scored more points last night in their spring game
than they did all season last year. The score last night against Lighthouse Christian Academy was 24-0. And Coach Siegel also texted me some statistics. He had a 80-yard touchdown pass in that game last night. That's exciting. 2 touchdown runs by Caleb Kristoff, touchdown run by Jackson Horn, and a touchdown catch by Jackson Horn. I know Adam Land had a big night last night for the Mosley Dolphins as well. And then tonight, Rutherford is going to be taking on, they're going to be taking on themselves. They're going to have their black and gold game. That'll be later on this afternoon. Not entirely sure on what the time is. So Coach Olds, if you're listening, please help me out with that. But next Friday, May 23rd, they'll be traveling to Franklin County.
The difference about the team last year compared to this year in the wins and the scoring, Andy Siegel.
Well, but Andy Siegel wasn't coaching last night.
He wasn't. Oh,
he wasn't coaching. Yeah, he's still enjoying retirement until the next season unfolds. But congratulations to our spring football getting underway and almost being over with as we are wrapping up the school year. And I am so excited for some high school football to be taking place once again.
How about this? I don't know if you've just seen this breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
San Francisco 49ers, you see that?
Yeah. Well, actually, AG texted me this.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead, share it.
Okay, well, I just didn't know if you wanted to wait or whatever. But yeah, it looks like Brock Purdy's got an extension, 5 years, $265 million.
How are we feeling about that? 5 years, $265 million. Let's start right there. How do we feel about that? I actually have a question for us later. You know how this show goes.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're going to end up getting to it because it's a segment that I had left over from Wednesday called Buy or Bell, basically like buy or sell, but buy or bell. And one of those has to do with the 49ers. But 5 years, $265 million, what does that equate to?
What is that about?
About 53 a year.
Well, that's on average.
Yeah. The AAV.
Yeah, depending on how they structured that or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll call it 53.
I was going to say I think it's high. I mean, for Brock Purdy, I think it's high. I mean, it's probably going rate for a really good starting quarterback. If that's what the 49ers want to do, if that's who they feel they want to, have, in the quarterback room, leading that team for the next handful of years, then, fine, more power to them. Hopefully they can figure out the rest of the money so that they can make other players happy. You've seen, what happened with Debo and such, recently, trying to keep him happy. I don't want to say it's a head scratcher just because they've been able to plug and play a lot of quarterbacks in that system for quite a long time. Now you're kind of handcuffing yourself with a bunch of money going to your quarterback. And like I said, I wonder how that's going to translate as far as paying other players and keeping them happy on the team. So I'm going to be kind of interested to see how the next couple seasons go for the 49ers and, who they're able to keep, what kind of deals they're able to make, and if they're able to stay like at one of the higher tier teams in the NFC. So
we see this happen a lot where you get that. We don't see teams get the rookie quarterback and it works out the way that they expect it to. But we have seen that kind of consistently, somewhat consistently, maybe not the rookie quarterback deal, but the 49ers being able to take quarterbacks who's like, what? You're going with that guy? And somehow it works out, especially under that offense with Kyle Shanahan and all the weapons that they have around them. But eventually that well's going to run dry if you're going to be spending all of your money on your quarterback. I just don't think that 53 is that bad when we're talking about Dak being at 60. Do I believe? I believe that Brock Purdy has shown a lot of great things.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Last year was the first year that there was kind of troubles with injuries around the team, injuries with Brock Purdy, and he didn't look as prolific as he had in the past. Do I think he can get back from that? 100%. I think that he can. The issue for me, though, is are you going to continue to be able to build around Brock Purdy? Because if all you're going to do is pay your quarterback and then just hope that the rest of the pieces the pieces of the puzzle fall in together without getting the right pieces of the puzzle, I think that's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, like I said, I think they know more than we do, obviously, right? They know what their plans are going to be, how they're building the team for the future. So, like I said, if this is how they want to go and they think this is going to, work out for them, then, hey, they've been a great franchise, lately. Throughout their history, they've been a really good franchise as well. But, I mean, we see how fast things change in the NFL, right? A couple years ago, we were all talking about how overpriced the running back market was and how running backs were basically a thing of the past.
Right.
And then look at the resurgence of the running backs we've had in the last, like since that time, last year and a half or so. We're seeing how much money they're getting paid. Guys like Saquon, like Derrick Henry now, over 30 years old and getting the largest contract for over a 30-year-old running back. So, and it's all cyclical, like everything else in the world. Music, movies, sports. There's only so much stuff that you can do, right? And then things kind of have to like reinvent themselves. So maybe running's the new like passing now. You know what I mean? In the NFL, or it's going to go that route.
Yeah, I think that we're going to get back to a more balanced attack. Closer to a balanced attack, but you can see that the defenses, in my opinion anyways, are starting to catch up a little bit more, which I love that because it keeps the parity of the game. Now, speaking of cyclical, when does music get back all the way back to its beginnings in a cappella?
There's probably stuff out there right now, like we just don't know. It's just not like very popular and stuff. I wasn't talking about acapella, but like if you're making music, you're like playing guitar, piano.
Yeah.
There's only so many tunes you can make. You know what I mean? And then you just basically you're just taking the stuff and just adding a little this or this, or sampling it, mixing it around, speeding it up, slowing it down, but it's all basically the same.
So last night, the Nuggets ended up taking down the Thunder to force a Game 7. They won that one 119-107. The Winnipeg Jets, not just winning, but blanking the Dallas Stars to push that series to Game 6. Dallas leading the series 3-2. The Hurricanes, they end the team that I was rooting for in the Stanley Cup playoffs after the Lightning went out. Ovi and the Washington Capitals, their season is over after a 3-1 win by the Carolina Hurricanes, so they are now into the Eastern Conference Finals once again. Let's see if they can capitalize on that after removing the Capitals from the playoffs. Then tonight, Celtics-Knicks. Knicks 2.5-point favorite at the house. This series has been bonkers. No Jason Tatum, no problem, said the Celtics last time they were out there with a huge win. The Knicks tonight, 2.5-point favorite. The total sitting at 210.5. Caveman Rick, we don't have a lot of time here, but tell me, who do you think wins the game tonight?
Oh, man, tonight it's in New York, right?
Yep.
And New York hasn't had a closeout at home. I think I heard it since like 99, probably since like Patrick Ewing was there, right? So I'm going to go Knicks, man. Like every celebrity that follows basketball that's big time, like in New York, is probably going to be there. It's probably the hottest ticket that, the Knicks have had since then, or maybe since Linsanity or something, right? We'll say maybe, so I don't make it too much of a stretch, but it's huge. I mean, like that is like huge, and it's going against the Celtics. So I think the Knicks pull it off with the big crowd at home, all the ruckus, all the noise, and then Celtics without Tatum, they're just not going to do it.
I've gotten this series so terribly wrong. Now I will say that I have been on the not the bandwagon, but when the Celtics went down 2-0, it was like I really do believe they'll come back. Then Tatum goes down. I don't think that the Celtics are going to win this series anymore. Then they win without Tatum, which Paul Wilson brought up a really good point yesterday. Without Tatum, the Celtics over the last 2 years are actually a better team without Tatum. Jaylen Brown needs to step up. I'm just going to refrain from a pick and enjoy this game. Maybe make a wager on Hard Rock.
I'll just say real quick too, like the Knicks right now, like this, I think it's like make or break.
Yeah.
Like with the talent they got right now, and they got the moment, and you got the Celtics against the ropes now without Tatum. If you can't finish them off now, you're never going to do it. And so, if they don't do it tonight, then I think they need to blow it up, start over again.
We are live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're talking Major League Baseball with Chris Gollin. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 82 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some clouds tonight, a gentle breeze out of the southwest and a temperature of 74. The same tomorrow around 83 with some sun and a wind around 8 miles per hour coming out of the southwest. Mostly sunny Sunday, a light breeze and quite warm around 82. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design, build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Cold, creamy, and gourmet. Milkshake Factory is now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch. Unbelievably delicious handcrafted milkshakes and chocolates like the famous chocolate bark. Try the mouth-watering chocolate dipped strawberry shake. Family-friendly fun and unforgettable shakes await. Milkshake Factory now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch on Back Beach. Milkshake Factory.
It's been an up-and-down start for the 2025 Atlanta Braves, which means every win counts more than ever.
1-2, he hits one well. Deep left field. Gonna head back to the wall. Boom! A two-run home run!
Tonight, it's Atlanta Braves baseball from historic Fenway Park in Boston as the Braves square up for an interleague battle with the Boston Red Sox.
Braves coverage begins at 6. First pitch, 6:10. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs on the Sports Talk Monster.
You're gonna be mine. Woo!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the doghouse. That doghouse was built by CBC Construction. Go to cbcconstruction.com or give them a call at 850-747-3881 for all your construction needs. You can also go to that website, cbcconstruction.com. I do believe that they're looking for a few good men. So if you fill out that application and you put ESPN Northwest Florida on there as a reference, well, you better not let us down then, dadgummit, and go out there and work hard. Just kidding. But you can fill out an application, cbcconstruction.com. Calling question of the day is in honor of National Pizza Party Day. What kind of pizza are you having? The phone line here, 850-215-6290, brought to you by Red 7 Teas, the brand that brands you, red7teas.com. Now we're going to be on the line with Chris Gollin down there in Flagler Beach. He is a writer for baseball and also for, he writes about baseball and also for Motor Stardom in concert with our guy, RJ Starsvik. Chris, how are you doing on this Friday afternoon?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing wonderful. How are you, Caveman?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for sharing some of your time with us this afternoon.
Well,
absolutely.
Speaking of sharing time and thoughts, give us your thoughts on Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson being taken off the permanently ineligible list by Rob Manfred.
Well, that is the big story of the week. I'm going to start with Shoeless Joe. I'm perfectly fine with that. There's a lot to indicate that he wasn't a key player in the Black Sox scandal all those years ago. He may have even repeatedly resisted attempts to get him to participate. So as far as I know about that, I'm pretty much fine with it. Pete Rose, I have an issue with, and I'm gonna go into why. I'm not going to take too long on it, but
take your time, brother.
As far as the gambling goes, he accepted a lifetime ban in 1989 in exchange for the MLB to not provide a formal finding in their investigation. So people say, he didn't bet against his own team. We don't know that. He accepted that ban so we didn't get more of a report from the league on what happened. So to say outright that he did not bet against his own team, you can't say that for sure. It's entirely possible. Of course, I don't want to convict him of it either, but and then beyond that, so there's still obviously an argument to be made for him going in the Hall of Fame and being reinstated. But when there's an argument, you want to look at, is this someone who should get the benefit of the doubt? Pete Rose is someone who, it's an uncomfortable thing, but he admitted to having relations with a 14-year-old girl in the 70s when he was in his 30s. His defense was that he thought she was 16. I don't want to sit here and get into cancel culture from beyond the grave. It is what it is. But when there's cases like this, where there's a compelling argument either way to put someone in, and you've got something like this floating out here, why would I want to give him the benefit of the doubt? He just remained belligerent about it until the very end. I just have no desire. There's a character clause in the Hall of Fame that, if this doesn't meet it, I don't know what does. So for me, if anything, how about we let it be an example that the home run leader and hit leader of all time in the MLB are both kept out of the Hall of Fame because of really egregious lapses in character. It stinks for the league, for the sport, that is the case. But if there's anything to take away from that, any silver lining, it's that can be a monument to the fact that no one is above consequences, no one is above reproach, that if you do really crappy things like these guys did, put them in the museum part of the Hall of Fame, sure, but a plaque glorifies them, in my opinion. And so I don't want to see Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for those two sort of reasons. That's my take on it.
Caveman, you got anything to add or rebuttal?
The only thing I would have to say about that is what you're saying is fairly true. But he did agree to a lifetime ban, and his life is over now. So being that it's what he agreed to, baseball agreed to, I don't have a problem with it being posthumously, being put into the Hall of Fame. You can put guys like into the Hall of Fame, and like people have said before, obviously on the plaque, mention the egregious things. You don't have to, not say anything about it. That's one of the things I always have a problem with is when all these talking heads, pundits and stuff want to give everybody these flowers and they want to toss all these great accolades to players that have also done some wrong stuff. I think it's fair you have to mention the bad stuff too. Like when everybody wants to talk about Tom Brady being the GOAT and all the championships and such, but nobody wants to mention the allegations of cheating and things like that and coming up with that. You have to mention both of them. You can't just talk about all the good stuff. Just like if somebody did a bunch of bad stuff, like an Aaron Hernandez, there was great things he did on the field as well. So you can focus on all the negative stuff, but there's also other things that people have done in their lives too that isn't all negative. So I just think you can't tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose.
I agree with that. I will also say maybe it's my optimistic attitude that I always kind of try to reach for the best side of people and the on the field stuff. But you just brought up the character clause, and I will say that this is something that eludes me all the time. I never bring up the rape allegations, the 14. I thought she was. Well, I guess he was saying that he thought she was 16 years old.
But you're never your worst moment in life. You're never your best moment in life. You're always someplace in the middle, somewhere's in between,
Yeah, so that one's it is tough for me when I add that side of it into it, and that's a great point by both of you guys. You got to bring up the whole entire story, so that does become a little bit tougher. And I apologize to our listeners that we glorify Pete Rose all the time on this show and have been doing it since the days of the Coach's Daughter show, and that side of it doesn't really get brought up unless someone is arguing the other side of it.
But there's also
but I will say that I should apologize to the listeners for that.
There's also a lot of people in the Hall of Fame that you can argue stuff about the character and stuff too, like Ty Cobb's a known racist, things of that nature. So there's a lot. You can go down the line, and I'm sure you can find flaws in a lot of people that are in there as well.
There is, and that's a very compelling case. And I think you have to take it individual by individual, case by case, and decide exactly what is the right way to remember their career. I've been to the Hall of Fame 2-3 times. It's great that there's a museum separate from the plaques because people like Rose and Bonds and people like that should be all over it. And yes, there are people in the Hall of Fame who are just as reprehensible, if not more. That needs to be brought up. That's a fantastic point. For me, I just see it like just because we've maybe made the wrong decision before, I don't know that it really helps anyone to just do it again. Like there's consistency, but it's like, does it really? We can, instead of being consistent, why don't we be better? That's how I view that with the precedent issue. But great points all around for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And his next available opportunity will be the winter of 2027.
26 or 27.
27, okay. Yeah. Do you think he gets voted in then? Not what you want, but do you think if the writers will write him in, or actually it's the what is it?
It's a committee.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. The writers, I think, are the most. The committees, I think they tend to run a little more old school, and that could really be in Rose's favor, or it could be against it. I think Rose has a little more goodwill in the league to work with his Hall of Fame case than people like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. So it could very, very easily go either way. But if you absolutely made me had to predict, I would tend to think he actually has a pretty good shot.
I heard some numbers about it maybe being a little tougher, too, than maybe some people think, because I believe on this committee there's only like 20 people.
Yeah,
so 5 votes right there. If 5 people say no, that just cancels them out right there because of the percentage you need to have. So basically, I mean, that's all it's going to take. So hopefully, I mean, if he wants to, or people want him in, hopefully those 5 aren't on the committee.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is wild, too, that of those 16 players, the only ones that people are talking about is Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson. But of the 16, 8 of those members were members of the 1919 Black Sox there. So, Chris, great stuff there. We're talking with Chris Gollin. He's a baseball writer. What's your take, Chris, on the early MVP and Cy Young frontrunners in the American and the National League? Give me one favorite and one dark horse let's start with MVP on the American League side of things.
I'd say my MVP favorite, until I have reason otherwise, is going to be Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
For dark horse, I don't know if you can call Bobby Witt a dark horse, because he's almost, as much as Judge is the favorite, Witt is the second favorite. So instead of going with that, I think my dark horse is Stephen Kwan. I don't think he's getting quite enough credit for what he's doing out there in Cleveland.
And he really had a heck of a year last year, too, really until late in the season with his injury, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was very much in the conversation for a lot of the year, like say, until that injury thing. So hopefully this year he can stay healthy, because his numbers are better in virtually every column than they were even last year, his rate stats, that is. So I think Judge has it, unless, God forbid, he himself has an injury thing. I don't see a slump happening that would bring him back down to earth. But if that were to happen, Kwan is the guy that I have my eye on as maybe kind of rising from the fringes of the conversation.
Yeah, and we're going to be playing a little Aaron Judge. I almost said Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Judge rapid fire here with Chris at the end of this segment. How about for Cy Young? Give me a favorite and a dark horse American League Cy Young.
I think my favorite, of course, I'm a Yankee fan, so you may accuse me of bias, but I'm actually not going with Max Fried. I'm going with Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros. Their stats are very comparable, but I think if you look at it, I think Hunter just has a little bit more of a compelling case. My dark horse is a fun one. I have not heard enough buzz about what Jacob deGrom is doing this year. Finally back he's already had as many starts this year as he had, I believe, in the 2 seasons before that for Texas. I just verified that. He is pitching to a 2.29 ERA. His whip is under 1. He's striking people out. He has over 1 strikeout per inning pitched. DeGrom is picking up right where he left off. So, if he keeps that up, I don't know if everyone realizes that he's back and as good as ever, but I like him as a little dark horse.
I like that as someone who's just glad that he's away from the Mets, because that's the thing with Jacob deGrom is he's so good when he's on the mound. But those injuries just continue to pop up. On the National League side of things there, Chris, give me a favorite and a dark horse for the NL MVP.
Well, for the NL MVP, it's another one just like Judge that until I have reason to say otherwise, I'm going to pencil in Shohei Ohtani.
And last night just kind of put the exclamation point on that a little bit, right?
Did it ever? He had a 2-home-run game, I'm pretty sure, right?
Against, at least two. I know he got struck out by a position player, though, too, later on in that game. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it happens to the best of them. But, Shohei is my somewhat boring but also a little unavoidable MVP pick in the NL. My dark horse, I'm actually staying in L.A. I think Freddie Freeman is I don't know if I can say quietly because he is a superstar, but despite the fact that he is still spending 90 minutes a day prepping his ankle, he's batting .370. He leads the NL in batting average, on base, and slugging, and obviously OPS too. He's hitting for power. I mean, even at 35 years old, he's just not slowing down. This is shaping up to be one of the best years of Freddie's career. So he's a guy that I think he's putting together the kind of season where in the long run, unless Shohei gets back on the mound and does some real great pitching this year, Freddie might be able to go toe-to-toe with Shohei in the long run with the bat.
Chris, I agree with everything you're saying there about the Dodgers. I just got a question here, maybe for David too. You know, he's a big baseball guy as well. But is it fair to ask that, okay, so you got Shohei, we're talking about Freddie Freeman, this team being so stacked that it is, that, you know, it's to have the MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing with all these superstar players. Wouldn't it be, like, more advantageous, or say, to, you know, maybe look for a player that's on a team of lesser superstars that's still producing quite well but doesn't have all the talent around him, that's maybe making his players around him a little bit better, as opposed to somebody that's on, like, basically an all-star team?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, it's a double-edged sword, because if you're on the Dodgers, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you no matter who you are. But, yes, at the same time, Freddie does have to – I mean, in order to win the MVP, he has to sell people that he's the best player on the Dodgers this year. And there's a lot of competition for that role. So I think at the pace they're going at, like say, if Shohei doesn't pitch you could just get a hitting arms race between the two of them. And I think at that point, the numbers will speak for themselves wherever they may fall. And also at the end of the day, having that protection in the lineup is going to be beneficial for both of them as well. That's another thing to kind of think about. So, yeah, I don't know if it hurts or helps out necessarily, but I'm sure if you're trying to make a case for MVP, you'd probably rather be a Dodger than a Rocky, given if everything else is the same.
I mean, when basically every game the Dodgers are playing, they're scoring more runs than the Rockies have wins. That's
pretty crazy.
That's a good point there. I'll also say this, that I agree with that take. Sometimes when you have these stacked teams, whatever sport it is, if you take whoever you perceive to be the most valuable player of the league, you take them away from them, are they still going to be that good? The Dodgers would be. What will save Shohei this year is the fact that the Dodgers are pretty decimated injury-wise right now, yeah. and he is a stalwart. But then you look down the list, as Chris just got done bragging on what Freddie's doing right now. 9 home runs, hitting for power, hitting for average. We're sitting here, everyone's talking about Aaron Judge. Will he hit over 400 for the whole entire season? Well, I didn't even know Freddie was sitting up there near 370. That's insane right there. But I do agree with the premise of how is the MVP going to come from the most loaded team? But like Chris said as well, he doesn't know if it helps or hurts, and I think that it helps more than it hurts, because obviously we've seen him continue to win these days.
Yeah, I say it helps too, but like, you know what I say about fair. I don't want to say it's not fair, but in the grand scheme of things, I would like to see it go to a player that's on a lesser team that's doing a lot of great things that doesn't have all the help.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't know what we're looking like on time, by the way, but for Cy Young, Jesus Luzardo of the Phillies is my pick. My dark horse is Griffin Canning.
Awesome.
Get that in there.
Yeah, Luzardo is a good pickup for him for the Phillies this year. I'm so glad we got that guy right now. And the lineup we got, man, if Aaron Nolan could just get his crap together, man, our rotation would be so sick.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, we've got about 3 to 4 minutes here. We're going to go a little longer. Give me 3 series. It's rivalry weekend in baseball. Give me 3 series you're looking forward to the most, in order, in a ranking system.
All right. So my number one has got to be the Subway Series. Juan Soto coming back to the Bronx. I'm pretty sure it's in the Bronx.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, that just speaks for itself. I really like the Braves-Red Sox series, because I think the Braves are slowly but surely hitting their stride, and I'm excited to see Chris Sale pitch against his old team. And then my third favorite, I actually really like the Padres-Mariners matchup, because, number one, they're both great teams, but also that is the Vetter Cup, with Eddie Vedder being from San Diego, making his career in Seattle. And as a huge Pearl Jam fan, I just got to love that. So those are my top three.
Hey, there you go. Pertaining to your number one overall series there, the Yankees and the Mets, the Subway Series in the Bronx. Who's under more pressure this weekend? Is it Juan Soto in his return, or is it the Yankees letting Juan go?
It's absolutely the Yankees. They were the ones not chosen. Yankee fans are the ones with a chip on their shoulders. They're the ones with the angst here. And Soto does not strike me as the kind of guy who's going to let the booze get into his head. I really think he's got a lot of, we've seen him perform in the World Series when he was less than 20 years old, I'm pretty sure. I just don't think he's that kind of guy who's going to let the pressure weigh him down. So even though ultimately for the Yankees, it is truly just another game as far as the standings go, I think with narrative-wise, no, the pressure's got to be on the Yankees more than Juan Soto.
I tend to agree with that answer right there, Chris, as we do most of your answers. All right, let's play a little Aaron Judge rapid fire with you, which, with all the questions that I had left over from that segment right there, I'll save those for next Friday with you. Aaron Judge, all right, here we go. Aaron Judge's expected batting average right now is 362. Will his actual batting average for the season be over or under that number of 362?
Under.
Ooh.
I don't doubt that he can go over, but 362 is really high. I hope I'm wrong.
Hey, right on. Judge is on pace right now for 56.5 home runs. Will he go over, under 56.5? Over.
I think he gets near 60 again.
Any chance to break the record? Was the record 72s?
The steroid record? Or
wait, no. What did Barry get? Was it 77?
74, I
74,
believe?
Okay.
I really should know that off the top of my head.
Right. I mean, we had so many of those big home run years.
Another credence to it not being the real record because nobody remembers the number.
73. There you go.
73.
If he didn't have that streak where he was briefly not hitting home runs for like 10 games, but he was still hitting incredibly overall, if it weren't for that, I'd say he has a shot. But I'd say with that having happened, unless he finds yet another notch for him, I'd say probably just breaking his own AL record.
Yeah.
If you don't like calling it the clean record, the AL record is a little more doable.
Judge has already posted a 4.0 Fangraphs WAR here in 2025. Will he surpass his career high of 11.2 from last season?
Oh, yeah, easily. It's one of those things where the only thing I think is going to stop him is getting hurt because I don't see too bad of a slump happening. What are we, we're like a little over a quarter of the way to the All-Star break? He's on pace like 15. I see him getting well over 11, if not maybe up near 12. It's a bold claim, but I mean, look at the guy.
Yeah, he is lights out right now. Aaron Judge currently leads the league in all 3 Triple Crown categories. Will he finish atop the AL in over or under 2.5 of them? Will he get the Triple Crown, essentially?
Over. I think it's the Triple Crown year. You look at batting average, and the next guys behind him, you have got, I'm trying to do a little quick mental math here. Stephen Kwan has definitely hitting good batting average. Paul Goldschmidt, but I just think I don't see either one of them catching up to Judge, even if Judge does fall back a little bit. And then home runs and RBIs, like come on.
Yeah,
it's hard to predict anyone not named Aaron Judge leading in those categories. Oh, Jacob Wilson with the Homeless Athletics is actually also got a good batting average this season, but
wonky batting stance. He's got a wonky batting stance too.
He does. Oh yeah, but I am predicting the over on 2.5 Triple Crown categories for Judge. I think he gets it done.
All right, last one here. We got to keep it quick. Judge is a runaway favorite for AL MVP, as you've already mentioned. Will over or under? Just a half, not a whole number, just a half ballot of someone. Will someone other than Judge, will someone vote, will a ballot have someone other than Judge as the American League winner? Basically, will Judge be the unanimous MVP?
I say under one half ballot votes for someone else, meaning, I think he's going to be unanimous.
Awesome stuff.
All of these are with the qualifier, barring injury. But, at the moment, there's no one else you could conceivably vote for. So, I'm saying he's unanimous.
There you go. I'll put the little asterisk on here for you, bud. Hey, Chris, we'll catch up with you next Friday if you have time for us, and we'll keep on talking baseball till the season's out of sight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, sir. That's Chris Gallin, everybody. Y'all get over there to Twitter. I believe he has a Twitter. If not, I know he has a Facebook. Go add him on Facebook and follow his journey as a sports writer. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. When we get back, we're going to dive into our National Pizza Party Day.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straightaway center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 82 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some clouds tonight, a gentle breeze out of the southwest and a temperature of 74. The same tomorrow around 83 with some sun and a wind around 8 miles per hour coming out of the southwest. Mostly sunny Sunday, a light breeze and quite warm around 82. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. For the A.
Deep right center field, and is gone.
Your spot for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Listen live nights and weekends. This is Braves country. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. Go to cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815 for all your construction needs. Also, the 4th annual Pop's Pig Pick and Barbecue. All proceeds will go to benefit hurricane relief efforts led there by Chef Ross. Dinner tickets are going to be $20. He's going to have a whole hog there. He's going to have baked beans, macaroni and cheese, coleslaw, and some Texas toast. They'll also have a pool tournament at 1 p.m. That'll be $15 to enter in. And then this is all in honor of his father, his late father, Ron Pops Robinson. It'll be Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue. Give us a call on our phone line, brought to you by Red 7 Tees. You can go to red7tees.com. They are the brand that brands you. And our call-in question of the day, Caveman Rick, in honor of National Pizza Party Day, what kind of pizza are you having? Let's go over some of the comments. You can text what kind of pizza you're having at 850-215-6290 on the Red 7 Tees phone line. Ohio Brad is going with sausage and pepperoni from Pequod's, which I have no idea where that's at, somewhere up there in Ohio, which means, Ohio Brad, if you're listening, that's probably not that good. Jamal Smith, I need Ohio Brad because he is a great guy. Jamal Smith, he just tags Mr. Maine's Pizzeria, which is a place I got to go check out. So here they got some good New York style pizza. Got to go check them out. Ryan Mulvey, host of the Inside Drive. You can listen to them right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, weekdays from 11 a.m. to to 1 p.m. He says a crispy crust from a pizza oven, not wood-fired, pepperoni, bacon, banana peppers, Vicks in Belmar, New Jersey. You ever been there?
No. I think it's up north. Brian's a North Jersey guy. I'm South Jersey.
Yeah, true. Good point. Good point. Jamal Smith, his crust is crispy in the pizza oven. Pepperoni, extra cheese. That seems like a good option. By the way, Bay High, just seeing his name brought me to that. Bay High is having their red and white game right now. They got underway at 4:30 for their intra-squad game, and Rutherford should be underway in their black and gold game. Barrett, he's going with Hungry Howie's thin crust, Cajun crust, cheese, and pepperoni. Boston Tim, he's going Licori's Pizza in West Springfield, Massachusetts. They deliver for a very fair price. I'm just kidding there. It's a ways away, but if you're ever up in that area, go check them out. Probably the salami and kielbasa, but they have a ton of wild slices, he says, for like $5 that are as big as a large chain pizza. Amanda, she says hand-tossed pepperoni and pineapple. You like that? Are you a pineapple or no pineapple?
I mean, I'll eat it, if it's there, but like I'm not just going to be like, I want to order a pizza with pineapple.
That particular fruit might just be a topping on my pizza. Jack Patterson's going pineapple and ham stuffed crust from Hungry Howie's. Ian Malone, he says deep dish supreme all day long. I do love a good supreme pizza. You a deep dish fan or no?
No.
I like it, but it's not going to be on my top 10 choices.
Again, if it's there and I'm eating pizza and, but I'm not just going to be like, I'm going to order this tonight.
Micah is going around here. Mr. Maine's 100% topped by New Yorkers with a northern accent. This guy takes pride in making a superior product, best on the beach. Ethan Hewitt, he says, I have a lot of thoughts on this. So this is a little bit of a paragraph I got to read. So he breaks them into categories. At home and feeling lazy, Domino's thin crust with chicken and jalapenos. Good old jalapenos. Can never go wrong with jalapenos on pizza. Homemade, unless you get bad heartburn, then that might not work out for you. Homemade pizza, Italian sausage, sauteed onions and peppers with arrabbiata sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, how do you say it?
It's Arbita. I don't know.
Arrabbiata.
Yeah.
Do you know Bo Crusher back there? No, just
Arrabbiata, I think is how you pronounce it.
I like that. That sounds good. Favorite pizza in the area? Bubba's Pizza on Back Beach Road in PCB. Haven't tried that one out. Hey, all of these places that we're giving free plugs to, y'all sign on with the Afternoon Underdogs or ESPN Northwest Florida in general so we could talk about you freely. And then Giordano's Deep Dish in Chicago is his favorite all-time. Real Chicagoans might roast that opinion, though. So I know a lot of people from Chicago. How do y'all feel about Giordano's? And I'm probably saying that extremely wrong. Caveman Rick, what is your pizza? If you're throwing a pizza party, what are you bringing to the party?
All right, so not any particular place I'm going to mention down here, I guess. Just really good pizzeria-style pizza is what I like. The hand-tossed, foldable slices, got the grease sitting on top, you know what I mean? Like big, huge, like Tim was saying, slices, the size of like your head. As far as toppings go, it's kind of like how I look at like stuff like steak and cake and things like that. Like really good whatever, doesn't need a bunch of toppings, just good cheese, sauce, the dough, and I'm fine with that. Maybe a little sprinkle of like, some garlic powder or some red pepper flakes or something like that. But good pie, you don't need all the extras, man. It just stands alone.
And Bone Crushers are pizza aficionados, so...
Guys, y'all are all wrong. I'm walking across the street to the gas station by my house. I got a rewards card. If I eat 7 gas station slices, I get a free, slice of gas station pizza.
The gift that keeps on giving. That's exactly what that is.
So is that the NASCAR, like Hunt's Brothers?
Is that the Hunt's Brothers pizzas?
It is, yeah.
Hey, there you go, man.
My card is filled out. I went there, and the last 2 times I forgot to get it stamped.
Oh.
And I told the cashier about my dilemma. I was like, and the cashier's like, you know what? I don't care. Stamp. Here you go.
Right on.
Great stuff. For me, I'm going to go with a New York style pizza as well, but I'll add some toppings to it. And I like to have the flop with a still crispy crust as well. Best of both worlds. Give me some pepperoni, ham, pineapple, jalapeno, and banana peppers. Give me all the spicy stuff and then a little red pepper on top, and then dip that sucker in ranch. Yeah, you're like, this is the opposite of what I'm saying. Why are you adding all
like
this
taking
stuff?
like fine, like really good like alcohol, like some like really expensive like whiskey or brandy, and like mixing it with a can of Coke. Like you're not going to be able to taste like how good it is because you covered it up with all this other nonsense. If it's really good, it needs to stand alone. You can enjoy it with all the other BS, man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's
how I look at it anyway.
Someone who's tried a few different liquors, there's never been one that I've been like, man, this tastes so daggum
well,
good.
No, but have you really spent like a couple $100s on a bottle of something like that? You know what I mean?
No.
But I mean, you can, and then if you do that, like it's like ask Adam. Adam is like,
he's
you know, somebody like that will probably tell you that's like blasphemy to like cover it up with like soda or something like that.
Whatever
and not drinking
it
it
was
straight or on the rocks.
Whatever it was straight.
Or
Didn't
with
matter.
just a splash of water.
All right, we got to get to our number 2. That was our national pizza party. But hey, if you want to text yours in to 850-215-6290, we will read yours off as well. Coming up next, we're going to be talking Stanley Cup playoffs with Andrew Weiss, and I got to find out from him who's going to win Game 6. Will it be the Leafs forcing a Game 7, or do the Panthers win tonight and head to the Eastern Conference Finals to take on the Hurricanes? Find out next, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 76 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the southwest. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a light breeze and quite warm near 82. Partly sunny and 83 in the afternoon and evening. 83 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Sunday. Monday, some sun and a temperature about the same at 86. This is your Friday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
6 Lynn Haven, W Field, Q, Fort St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's been an up and down start for the 2025 Atlanta Braves, which means every win counts more than ever.
1-2, he hits one well. Deep left field. Gonna head back to the wall. Boom! A 2-run home run!
Tonight, it's Atlanta Braves baseball from historic Fenway Park in Boston as the Braves square up for an interleague battle with the Boston Red Sox.
Braves coverage begins at 6. First pitch, 6:10. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back here in the doghouse. This doghouse was constructed by CBC Construction. CBC Construction. You can go to their website, cbcconstruction.com. Also, call them at 850-747-3815. They are a great name in the construction game. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick and the Bone Crusher. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. And we are right here in Braves country. The Braves taking on the Red Sox tonight. Coverage starting at 6 o'clock after the Afternoon Underdogs for a first pitch of 6:10. I don't know if I've been saying 6:15 just because I've been so ingrained by it over our last few games, but it's 6:10 tonight for the first pitch. We'll get back to 6:15 tomorrow evening, and then 12:35 for Sunday's first pitch. Going to be Chris Sale going up against Garrett Crochet, so should be a heck of a game. There you go. If you got any questions NHL-wise, text them in to us right now on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. And also check out red7ts.com. Our next guest is Andrew Weiss. He is our NHL ambassador and keeps us up with the NHL throughout the season. Andrew, how are you doing down there in beautiful Tampa, Florida?
Oh, well, whenever the sun's out, it's always a win, so can't complain too much. But appreciate you guys having me on, as always.
Yes, sir. Well, let's dive into it. What do the Leafs need to do tonight to force a Game 7?
Win. I couldn't resist, I'm sorry. But genuinely, though, this is a team that has struggled to put away teams for so long. I know they beat Ottawa this year in the first round. They beat the Lightning a few years ago in the first round. Take those two series away, and they have lost every other series they've played in since 2004. It's a struggle for them to really close out games, and a team that was up 2-0 in the series lead after the first two games and had a 3-1 lead in Game 3, and it went to overtime. They had a chance to be up 3-0 in the series. Now they're on the ropes. They're down 3-2. I just worry that this is a team, if I'm a Maple Leafs fan at least, I worry that this is a team that doesn't have the mental strength to do it. Game 5 was almost as must-win as you can get for this, group that's been together for so long in Toronto. And they, went out and I don't even know if they played. I mean, it was 6-0, ended up being 6-1. But that's probably the most important game of that era for the Maple Leafs, and they looked terrible. So mentally, I don't even know where they're at right now. So to win this game, they've got to have very short memory and very ambitious emotion right now, because they have not shown a willingness to get into the fight against this Panthers team that kind of sleepwalked the first two games and has dominated the last three.
I would argue that it's not the mental side, it's the physical side of the Leafs. Not taking bodies, trying to do a lot of stick checking and not getting nasty and dirty down in the corners, back behind the net, things of that nature. And I think if they were step up, they'd have a better chance against the Panthers that are just like knocking them around left and right. But moving on to the Panthers, what do you think they need to do to close this series out, Andrew?
Ironically, to your point, continue to play physical. I mean, to what you just said as well. I mean, Toronto, to me, it starts mentally, but then, yeah, exactly, it gets to the physical part, right? Like they almost as if they're too soft, they're too scared to really meet up with the Panthers. And Florida, this is a team that's been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. They've won one of them. They know what it takes to win games, and you've got to get down and dirty in the mud with them. And if Toronto's not willing to do that, Florida's going to willingly do it. They're going to get down there. They're going to be physical. They're going to run you out of the building. And in front of a home crowd with a chance to put the series away, I mean, for Florida, it's maintaining that physical edge and presence that has basically made Toronto cower in fear the last few games.
All right, Andrew. Well, we got two teams right now who are down to their final loss, being the Winnipeg Jets, who pushed that one to a Game 6 last night, and the Toronto Maple Leafs that we were just talking about. Who's more likely to win their series being down 3-2? Is it the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Winnipeg Jets?
I mean, I think it's easily Winnipeg. I think Dallas is a phenomenal team. I don't think it's anything against either team that's winning. I mean, I think Florida is a much better team compared to Toronto, whereas Dallas and Winnipeg, I think, are closer. But it's also the makeup of the teams. I think Winnipeg has struggled mightily on the road this postseason, but all it takes is one good road game, and you're hosting a Game 7 on home ice, where you've been pretty good all year long. So, for Winnipeg, it's, all right, we got to get it back to home. Yeah, go steal a game. Connor Hellebuyck's been not that great on the road this postseason. He's not been great in general in the postseason in his career for whatever reason. But as we saw this last game, when he got a shutout, this is a Winnipeg team that can really shut you down, and when you do get your few looks, Halbach's there. Winnipeg has the ability to go do that. Toronto, they looked pretty good in the first 2 games of this series, but they've looked like a pushover the last 3 games. Game 5 especially. And anything's possible, but the injury to Anthony Stolarz is huge. And I don't think it's necessarily because the play of Joe Woll has been terrible for Toronto. I think he's been fine. And in fact, I think he's been at times good. But I think it's the mentality of this team in front of them, where they're giving up a lot more chances. To Cam and Rick's point earlier, they're stick checking. They're not, playing physical. They're not really having regard for their own defensive zone, whereas Winnipeg has been much better at it. I think they've had better chances than Dallas this postseason in this series, but Dallas has just capitalized at a much higher rate. So I think if any team's going to do it, it's Winnipeg, but it's going to be very hard against both Dallas and Florida for their respective opponents.
All right, Andrew, right now, if there is a team, which team do you think is, quote, the team of destiny and playing that way at the moment?
In terms of the team of destiny, whenever I hear that, it's like, all right, well, they win games, whether they're supposed to win games or not win games. They keep winning because it's their time to win, right? That's the team of destiny. And to me, that's the Edmonton Oilers. We talked about it before the second round started, how the most surprising potential could be the Oilers sweeping Vegas, and they came pretty close to it. I'll take the 4-1
gentleman's sweep,
close as I can get to my hot take. But I mean, that's a team that, should they have won all 4 of the games that they won, you can make the argument. But I think that they played very well, and they had some good bounces go their way. Stuart Skinner had 2 shutouts after not knowing how to stop a puck in the first round. I mean, they just find ways to win. They do it defensively. They do it with scoring. They can do it, in a slugfest. They have different ways they can win. It feels like that kind of team of destiny right now, where they're just winning games that maybe they shouldn't, and then they're winning the games that they should. And that's a recipe for success, is taking care of your own business and then finding a way to win when you shouldn't be. And that's really what the Edmonton Oilers are looking like right now.
And with a backup goalie.
And exactly. Like, the fact that they took out Vegas in 5 games and with a backup is insane.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Andrew Weiss, our NHL ambassador. Which goalie has been the biggest difference maker here in round 2?
I mean, this probably isn't the answer you're looking for, but I'm going to say Anthony Stolarz in Toronto, because he was so good for Toronto in their first round. He's been good for them all year.
Great
and they
answer.
look like a completely different team without him on the ice. I do want to give you a real answer, because I know you're looking for someone who's actually playing, but I do want to point that out just because they look so different. Toronto looked so much better when Stolarz was playing compared to Wall, and I know it's maybe just a mental thing, but even the Lightning have that. I get to watch it from home. When Vasilevsky's playing versus, Johansson, the confidence is just different. The style of play is just different. They're gripping sticks a little tighter. They're a little more nervous. You can tell it's marginal, but marginal could be one goal that could be a winner or loss. And come playoffs, a winner or loss could be a series.
Yeah, Stolarz is a great answer.
Yeah, that's probably the one I lean towards. There's been some great goaltenders. Freddie Anderson's been very quietly great for Carolina, but they do a great job of limiting chances. Probably would have to lean towards some combination of the Edmonton goalies, just because they haven't been good, but they just find ways to win, which is hilarious to me. And Stuart Skinner rightfully is getting a little bit of credit after getting so much flack for 2 shutouts against a very good Vegas team.
I'd probably go Bobrovsky myself, but I'm a little biased. He came from my team being a Flyer fan, so
he's so good.
All right, moving on. What's been the biggest surprise, team, players, series results that's caught you off guard so far in the playoffs?
In the playoffs in general, as a whole, I'd probably have to say that, I don't know, I'd lean towards the fact that Winnipeg has been so hot and cold, just because of how good they were this year. And you're going to lose games in the playoffs. It's very rare where a team's going to go anywhere close to 16-0, let alone 15-1, 14-2, any of those, right? Like, it's hard to win every game in the playoffs. But even still, I don't think I've ever seen a team that's so good when they're on and so bad when they're off like Winnipeg. I mean, they look like they're going to run St. Louis out of their first-round series after 2 games. And then suddenly they're back in Winnipeg, and it's Game 5, and the series is tied 2-2. All right, well, they dominate Game 5. And then they're back at Game 7. It's like, all right, here we go, round 2. It's Dallas and Winnipeg, and it's the same thing. They look phenomenal at home, and they just look dreadful on the road. And I don't think I've ever seen a split of a team with a Jekyll and Hyde approach like that. So maybe not necessarily the surprise, like, oh, wow, this team, where they come from. But, Winnipeg's a team where I could see them winning the Cup, even down 3-2 in their series. And I don't think anyone would bat an eye because of how good they are. And I could see a team that, completely collapses in a must-win Game 6 or even in Game 7 on home ice just because I have no idea who's going to show up when they are playing.
Andrew, is there a team stat that blows your mind when you see it or when you think about this team doing whatever particular stat that would be?
Absolutely. I saw this on the broadcast last night, or maybe it was probably essentially 2 nights ago, when they were talking about
the Panthers?
And Paul Maurice, yes.
And about all their players with all the points?
Well, that's one for sure as well. The fact that the Panthers, if the Panthers won the Cup right now, who you're taking as the Conn Smythe? There's no runaway winner in my mind. There's definitely, you can make arguments for plenty of guys. You can obviously you could say Bobrovsky. You say Sam Bennett's been great. Kachuk's always an answer. But it's genuinely a team effort top to bottom. So that stat was sensational in my mind of just how deep that Florida Panthers
was it 14 players with 8+ points or something like that?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a different guy showing up every night to steal the show, and that's exactly what they need. But the other stat that I saw that I thought was really just mind-boggling was the Panthers' record under Paul Maurice in the playoffs when they have a lead. And I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah, that's. I'm interested in hearing that, and I wish it wasn't as good as what it was. But it was kind of cool to see him hoist the cup. As much as I hate Florida, to see him and his journey throughout the National Hockey League.
Talking about Paul Reese?
Yeah.
Because he coached with a ton of teams, man. Right. I didn't think he'd ever win a cup, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I had to pull it back up to make sure I had the number right. But when under Paul Maurice, the Panthers are 26-0 in the playoffs when leading after the end of the first or second period. So if they have a lead at the end of a period, whether it's the first period, the second period, whatever, they have a lead at the end of the period, they haven't lost a game under Paul Maurice in the playoffs. That's insane. Yeah. Now they've given up leads in general in a period before. That happens. But when you talk about going into the third period down a goal against the Panthers, that's terrifying. If I'm a fan of any team going against them, that's a team that just shuts you down. If they're going into a period with the lead, they're going into the third, you're down by a goal. It's in the back of your head for sure. I was thinking about it when the Lightning were down game 5 on home ice. They're down 4-3 going into the third period. I'm sitting there thinking, I don't even know if we're going to get a goal.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're going to score a goal here. And lo and behold, they couldn't find a way to win. That's sensational hockey. That's well-coached hockey. You can go into the intermission, grab your boys in the locker room when you have a lead and just be like, all right, let's take care of business. And they do every single time. 26-0, that's sensational.
All right, Andrew, here's one for you. Let's see if you got a good answer for this one. Is there a team out there that has had their exit from the playoffs, or if it does happen, that when they do exit out this year, that basically their Stanley Cup window is going to be closed?
I think the funny thing is there's a lot of teams who are opening their window right now that lost in the first round. So it's kind of tough to look at all these teams. Look at the Blues, the Wild, the Kings, Montreal, New Jersey, Ottawa, all teams that you'd classify as a young team that's working its way up there. There's old guys on those teams for sure. The Kings have Kopitar and Doughty, and the Sens have Giroux, and et cetera. But the core of those teams is still young. If I really do look at it, though, I am worried for two teams, and those two teams are the Lightning, because of the fact that they've lost in the first round now for 3 straight seasons. They've lost in 5 to their rival Panthers the last 2 seasons. And the other team being, honestly, the Vegas Golden Knights, because that's a team that's built, that's all in every year. That front office does not care about your facts or feelings. They will tear it down and put new guys in place no matter the cost if they think it's necessary. And at some point, the bill comes due, right? We always say that, right? With Chicago right now being as bad as they are after being a dynasty. The Kings had some off years. Every team goes through ups and downs. You can't maintain, right? It's very difficult to maintain playoff consistency over a decade, let alone more than a decade. And so for a team like the Lightning, who's now reached that 10-year mark under John Cooper of playoff series, you're starting to see the age of your stars, your Kucherovs, your Hedmans, your Vasilevskis. And you need that second wave to come in and support. Look at the Dallas Stars. They had, in 2020, they played the Lightning in the Stanley Cup Final. Their team was led significantly by Jamie Benn. They had, Corey Perry was a contributor on the team, but Tyler Seguin. They had some of those older guys, even Anton Hudobin in net. But now they've supplemented that with a new wave of talent. Jason Robertson, Miro Heiskanen, Jake Ottinger. Yes, some high drafted picks, but some phenomenal young talent. Wyatt Johnston. That's not a guy that was a top 5 pick, but he's been sensational for them. They've supplemented that. The Lightning, they've traded for that second wave. They've traded for a guy like Brandon Hagel. They added Oliver Bjorkstrand, but they haven't gotten enough of those young second wave guys to come in and supplement your Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevskis, right? So Vasilevsky being the difference, just because of goaltending, you don't necessarily need that second wave. But that's my concern for the Lightning. And then for Vegas, because they don't do that in Vegas, they just bring in guys. I'm worried about who else is going to be a contributing player. I mean, the Jack Eichel line was really the only line that looked impressive against the Oilers. Everyone else, I thought, had ups and downs, and it's just not a team that was as deep as it was 2 years ago when they won the Cup. And at some point, you run out of resources to acquire those players immediately versus having to draft and wait. So to these two teams, that second wave of guys coming in, being impact players, for Vegas it's trades, for Lightning drafting, I'm just not seeing it, and that's worrying for whether it's the next year or in 3 years when that bill eventually comes due.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're on the line right now with Andrew Weiss. Andrew, which series has had the best hockey from a pure entertainment standpoint?
I got to go with Winnipeg, Dallas. I mean, that's just been, I don't know what it is about the Winnipeg Jets, but every series they've been in so far this year has just been fun to watch every game. There's been some shutouts for sure, where maybe it's a little bit lower end scoring, but the moments are just brighter. I mean, you had a hat trick in Game 1 of this series. You had a hat trick in Game 5 of this series as well, both from Dallas. So it's not necessarily because of Winnipeg, but they just happen to be in those series. St. Louis, Winnipeg round 1, the Game 7. I mean, that's one of the craziest endings to a game that I've seen, with the tying goal in the last second of a Game 7 on home ice. Watching that was sensational. That's great hockey. That's fun to watch. I definitely enjoy hate watching the Panthers Maple Leaf series because I don't like either team, and it's fun to watch them beat up on each other. But Game 5 kind of felt like that meme where it's hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. That's kind of what it felt like, where the Florida Panthers are an atomic bomb and Maple Leafs are a sickly child. So it's a little less enjoyable in that moment when it's like, all right, like that's kind of enough. Like I want to have a close, fun game.
Yeah.
Whereas Dallas, I feel like every game has just been, it's intense, it's fun. They're beating the crap out of each other. It's playoff hockey to a full T.
All right, Andrew, one quick one. Who do you want to see in the Stanley Cup Final, and who do you think we will actually get in the final?
What I'd like to see would be, honestly, at this point, the Mikko Rantanen Bowl would be really funny. Dallas and Carolina, just to have that storyline play throughout the entire series, especially with how it so far has worked out for both teams pretty well. Edmonton, Carolina as well would be interesting, just for the rematch of 2006 and having a Canadian team in the final. Last year, obviously, the Oilers played against the Panthers, but before that, the last time we had seen some kind of Canada in the Cup, with the Oilers and Hurricanes, the Ducks in Ottawa back in the late 2000s. So getting a Canadian team in there always adds some interest with the folks up north. Who do I think I'm going to see? I mean, I haven't seen Carolina win more than one Eastern Conference Final game in a long time. Did they even win one last year? I'm trying to remember. That series was so forgettable in my head. That's the downside of Carolina. A lot of their series are very forgettable. And they're winning games, so credit to their team. And I know their fans hate hearing how boring they are, but they are boring. I'm sorry, and they have been boring in the Eastern Conference Final time they've made it. They've made it 3 times the last 7 years, and they've looked terrible every time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Florida Panthers rep once again in the Stanley Cup Final, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to see Panthers Oilers in the final, with Edmonton winning games that they shouldn't, and they're winning games that they should in their first 2 rounds. I mean, I think Dallas is sensational. I think Winnipeg's very good. I think either team could easily beat the Oilers, but you got McDavid, you got Draisaitl, and you've got they're playing Ping Pony Club in that locker room for whatever reason it's working for them, just like La Bamba was previously. So whatever methods of appeasing the hockey gods, it's working for Edmonton so far. So wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch of the Oilers and the Panthers in the Cup final.
Right on. Real quick, I asked you this, I believe, a couple weeks ago. Who do you got for, you think, in the Conn Smythe right now? Rantanen in the favorite now because of the way he's produced in the last handful of games?
Yeah, I think he has to be. I mean, if Dallas makes the Cup final, it's because of him. I mean, he took over the end of that Avalanche series. He's been sensational for them all playoff long. I mean, you look at the stats so far for the playoff teams this season. Rantanen's number 1 in points. He's number 1 in goals. He not only does he lead the league in goals, but he also has the best timely goals. He just finds a way to make his goals count the most. It's not just empty netters at the end of the game. So wouldn't be surprised to see Rantanen making an appearance there. If Edmonton finds a way to make it back to the Cup final, McDavid's always going to be in the conversation. Draisaitl's there as well. But if it goes to the East, wouldn't be surprised to see Bobrovsky getting some good love, and he's been playing very well just because how deep that Florida Panthers team is, like we talked about. I don't know who else you pick as of right now. It'd probably come down to who scores the most in the playoffs in that final series. If the Panthers win the Cup again, it'd be whoever scores in that Stanley Cup finals to really get the storyline going at the best possible time. But right now, my money would be on Mikko Rantanen for sure.
Great stuff, Andrew. As always, thanks for getting us caught up on what's going on in the world of the National Hockey League, especially right here during this time in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Just wish that we were talking a little bit more about those Tampa Bay Lightning. Andrew, take care, and we'll chat with you next week, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, and looking forward to some more great hockey coming up.
We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Yeah, there we go. And we got a big one tonight with the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we'll have Andrew back with us next week, recapping what went down and what is ahead. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. I've got 13 oddities from the NFL schedule. We'll dive into those when we get back.
Your attention, please.
ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 76 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the southwest. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a light breeze and quite warm near 82. Partly sunny and 83 in the afternoon and evening. 83 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Sunday. Monday, some sun and a temperature about the same at 86. This is your Friday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Eat, sleep, game. This is your sports obsession. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse, built up by CBC Construction. Go to cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-38 98.15. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick and the Bone Crusher. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. You want to keep it locked in here. Why? Because Coach Butch Bernard is going to be joining us from North Bay Haven. They had a big win last night. The Buccaneers did over Baldwin 6-3, and they are now headed to the Final Four. So we'll talk a little bit with Coach about what's up next and what he liked from last night and this season in general. And then right after that, it'll be the Braves and the Red Sox coverage starting at 6 o'clock for a 6:10 first pitch. In fact, I got some stats for you guys to go over from that. I might say we'll see if we have time to get into trivia this afternoon, but Chris Sale going on the bump tonight. He's 1-3, ERA of 3.97. The whip looking okay at 1.41 with 64 strikeouts. And Garrett Crochet for the Boston Red Sox is 4-2, low ERA of 1.93. Whip is sitting at 1.07. He's got 65 strikeouts. The Red Sox are 22-23. They're 11-9 at Fenway, and they have a 4-12 record in games decided by 1 run. The Braves 7-15 on the road. They are at 500 at 22-22, and they rank eighth in the National League with 44 total home runs, averaging 1 per game. The top performers for both teams, Alex Bregman. He is leading the Sox right now with a .314 batting average, 15 doubles, 11 home runs, 18 walks, and 33 RBIs. And the former third baseman for the Red Sox, Rafael Devers, is 13 for 36, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs over the past 10 games. For the Braves, Austin Riley hitting .286, leading the Braves, 8 doubles along with 8 home runs. And then also, how about the sensational Drake Baldwin, 14 for 23 with 2 home runs, 6 ribbies over the last 10 games. The Red Sox in their last 10 are 4-6, hitting .251, ERA of 4.14. They've been outscored by 3 runs. The Braves are 6-4, hitting .238, lower ERA of 2.32, and they have outscored their opponents by 6 runs. On Saturday, it's going to be Grant Holmes going for the Braves, going up against Lucas Giolito. And on Sunday, the final game of the series, it'll be Spencer Schwellenbach going up against Brian Bellows. So there you have it, and we'll have all 3 of those games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Friday coverage, or tonight's coverage, starts at 6 o'clock. Saturday, it starts at 5 for a 6:15 first pitch. And then Sunday, coverage starts at 11:20 in the morning, and the first pitch will be at 12:35. Caveman Rick, was there anything from the NFL schedule release that stood out to you?
I don't know about standing out. A lot of people talked about like the opening game, my Eagles against Dallas and stuff like that, and maybe they should have pushed that back because there's going to be eyeballs on that game anyways. And if you would have had something else going on, you still would have you're going to get the viewership on a Thursday night, like opening the season game, no matter pretty much who you have playing. So there's that. I like the idea a lot of people have where maybe you should have a rematch at the Super Bowl first week. That'd be kind of cool. If you did get Philly and Kansas City, but we're getting that week 2 anyways, so it's pretty close, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. So I guess not really, other than maybe some teams getting a lot of, standalone nationally televised games that maybe shouldn't because, they're not as great as maybe some other ones. But outside of that, no. I mean, scheduled release, I get it. It's a big deal. A lot of people can't wait for it. They always want to see, who's playing, who when. And I get a lot of that stuff, but it's so early, so long away. To me, it's kind of like, whatever,
Hey, there you go. 850-215-6290. If you guys have any thoughts on the NFL schedule or any of the release videos, all that stuff, I thought the funniest one, which the Colts did end up taking down, was their Minecraft video, which they apologized to Microsoft and to the teams that they, said bad things about. But one of the ones was about the Dolphins, and it was Tyreek Hill out there swimming in the ocean, and the Coast Guard got him, kind of referring to the incident that he had outside of Hard Rock Stadium last year. But 850-215-6290, the Red 7Ts phone line, the brand that brands you. Visit red7ts.com.
I did like the Eagles one, though, because it just showed the Super Bowl trophy. basically, and then after that it said, with appearances by, and it had like in real small print like all the teams were playing this coming season in order. So that's kind of neat doing it like it's a motion picture, like, hey, the star of the movie is the Eagles in the Lombardi Trophy, and then these are all like the B, C, and D like movie actors, if you will, So I kind of like that, like throwing a little shade at everybody.
Hey, there you go. I still think one of the best ones of all time was 2023 when the Titans were asking their fans, what team logo is this? And they were giving astronomically wrong, but yet hilarious answers.
I think, was it the Titans? Who was it that had Allen Iverson do it? Because
that was the Bills.
That was the Bills. Okay, they said like, yeah, let's get AI to generate or AI to do it, and then you see Allen Iverson holding just like a notebook piece of paper with the schedule on it. I thought that was pretty cool too.
And then they
pretty
said,
creative.
"Go Bill," or can we get a "Go Bills" from you? He said, "Nah, how about let's go Josh Allen."
Yeah.
So we Josh James looked up who AI Allen Iverson was a fan of. Do you know who it is?
I don't.
Well, it's the opposite of Philly, and it's not the Giants, and it's not the Redskins nor Commanders. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan.
There's a lot of them out there, but hey, AI being a great basketball player.
How do you play for the Sixers, though, and do that to your city?
Well, how do you okay, so get this. Okay, so he played in Philly like all those years.
Right.
I didn't know he was a Dallas Cowboy fan. He kept that on the down low because he knew why I was playing and stuff. If he would have made that known, he wouldn't have got the kind of love, and he would have got razzed by a lot of the fans, sooner or later. So there you go. Smart guy, let's put it that way.
Yeah, he is a smart individual. All right, so we touched on two of these yesterday, but we'll just kind of try to get through all 13 of these. The Chargers are going to be toying with jet lag. They're scheduled to travel 37,000 miles, which is good for most in the NFL. They've got a game in Brazil, and they have to travel, or they have 6 games over here on the East Coast, so that they'll be in the Eastern time zone. They'll also traverse 42 time zones, which is good for second most behind the Rams, who have 44, and the Bengals so that's the most, 37,000. The Bengals only at 8,750.
I think the Eagles are only like 9,000, so it's a little bit more than the Bengals, so that's pretty cool too when you think about that, when you don't have to travel that much. Kind of nice.
Yep.
We have a tough schedule, though, being that we just won the Super Bowl. I think it's like 4th or 5th toughest, so I guess it kind of evens out.
Super Bowl champs are all over the calendar. The Eagles don't have back-to-back home games at all on their schedule, but it does include a pair of sets featuring consecutive road games. They play at least one contest on 5 days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, which is their Black Friday game against the Bears, and then Saturday on week 16. Thursday night for the Cowboys is going to be a big one. They're the first team ever to have 4 Thursday games. The first game of the season against the Eagles. They've got a game against the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, a game against the Lions on Thursday Night Football, and then on Christmas Day with the Washington Commanders. The Tennessee Titans, my squad. I'll be going with Allen Watson to watch them take on the Kansas City Chiefs on December 21st. But Cam Ward is without a prime time game. Is that a disservice, do you think? Not necessarily to the Titans, because I think if you win the first overall pick, you probably shouldn't be getting primetime games. However, if you're the NFL, wouldn't you want your number 1 overall pick to be featured in one, even if it's just a Thursday night primetime game?
I mean, okay, so like they do get a Thursday night game, so they get one game where he can be showcased because everybody's got to play on Thursday at least once.
No, they don't have any primetime games.
But they have to play a Thursday game. Like, every team plays a Thursday game.
But Thursday night is considered prime time.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a prime time, like, standalone game. Like, he's got, he's being showcased is what I'm kind of getting at. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, it's not a Monday night game, or it's not like a Sunday night game or anything like that. But if you're playing on Thursday and there's no other games, you're being showcased, is my whole point.
All right, but this is what I'm telling you, is there is not that rule anymore. I'm looking at the schedule right now. The Titans don't play on Thursday night.
They don't have no Thursday night games. Wow.
Thursday night is still considered prime time.
I mean, I feel you. But what I'm trying to say, though, is I thought, like, every team's supposed to play at least one Thursday night,
I think this is the first year where they didn't give everyone a primetime game. Like that used to be the fairness, the participation trophy, if you will, was everyone would get some sort of a primetime game, even if it's just a Thursday. And this is, I want to say, the first year that they're not.
Okay, well, like I said, I would think that every team, like if you played on Thursday, you got your standalone, and that's a way to showcase them. But no, I mean, you got to earn it. You know, I mean, just like how we talked about like Hard Knocks. I think whoever finishes dead last should have to pay that penance and have to pay that price, and it should be a way to get away from teams trying to tank, because nobody wants to play or wants to be on Hard Knocks. So it's a deterrent there. So make it that way, and then you think you'd have less teams trying to get that first overall pick or trying to do tasteless things to kind of get that pick, taking dives and not starting players, whatever.
Well, we'll see. We just got a text in from Redbeard and from Josie on the go. She posted this on Facebook. There's a semi-pro football team called the Panama City Panthers, and they're going to be taking on the Louisiana Huskies at Gavlac this Saturday. They've got ticket prices and all that stuff. We won't go over that. But no, he asked if we knew anything about that. No, Redbeard, I have not heard anything about the Panama City Panthers and that we had a semi-pro football team here. I know that we've had multiple efforts to try to get stuff going and hope that it sticks. But, I did not know anything about that. So if you want to go out there and support them, then go check them out this Saturday night at Gavlac. All right, on with the schedule here before we got to get out of here. No love for the Saints either. They have been shut out of the primetime slate for the first time since 2000. Minnesota is going to become the first NFL team to make consecutive international appearances in different countries. They've got a road game against the Steelers in Ireland and the Browns in England. They are 4-0, the Vikings are, in London games, and they will at least avoid visiting the Steelers' Acrisure Stadium, because that's a good thing for them, because they're 0-3 there. The Panthers, Carolina opens up against Jacksonville. It's the third time ever that the team plays the Jaguars in Week 1. The Panthers reached the Super Bowl in the previous 2 seasons that they started out against the Jags back in 2003 and 2015. The Ravens, from weeks 5 to 8, Baltimore has a stretch of 3 straight contests at the house. Then they go on a 3-game road trip back to M&T Bank Stadium to have 3 more straight home games, ending there in Week 14. The Cowboys will become the first team ever to face 4 consecutive opponents that won 14-plus games in the previous season. In Week 12, they play the Eagles, Lions, Vikings, and Chiefs all consecutively. The 49ers, who just had the big deal with Brock Purdy today, 5 years, $265 million. The owner of the NFL's easiest strength of schedule. They play 0 teams coming off a bye. Meanwhile, you've got the Commanders, who lead the league with 4 games against opponents coming off a bye. In Week 8, we're going to see something that we haven't seen since 2006. You've got 2 lefties. Tua and the Dolphins will take on Michael Penix and the Falcons. First matchup between starting left-handed quarterbacks since 2006.
Tua has to make it to be able to start for that to happen.
That's a good point.
Well, Penix too.
Yeah, well, really both of them. Yeah, both injury-prone, but we will see. Hopefully we get the left-handed duo with the Southpaws there. Here's a weird streak for you. For the 4th straight year, the Bengals visit Baltimore to take on the Ravens in primetime. Every game of this series played in Cincinnati during that span has happened on Sunday at our time, Central Time Zone, 12 o'clock. And then the schedule features 5 instances in which division rivals face off twice in a 3-week span. The Giants and the Eagles do it weeks 6 and 8. The Ravens and the Bengals, weeks 13 and 15. The Packers and the Bears, week 14 and 16. The Bucks versus the Panthers, week 16 and 18. And the Commanders versus the Eagles, also in week 16 and 18, which could be good. It could be bad. It really depends on how, especially for those week 16 and 18 matchups, it really depends on how the entirety of your season is going up to that point. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. One more segment left for the week, and we're going to have North Bay Haven softball coach Butch Bernard join us for this final segment.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
We're live from the J. Michaels studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators. That's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
It's been an up-and-down start for the 2025 Atlanta Braves, which means every win counts more than ever.
1-2, he hits one well. Deep left field. Gonna head back to the wall. Boom! A two-run home run!
Tonight, it's Atlanta Braves baseball from historic Fenway Park in Boston as the Braves square up for an interleague battle with the Boston Red Sox.
Braves coverage begins at 6. First pitch, 6:10. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. From the diamond to the end zone, from the studio to the sideline, we're the destination for sports on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
We're back. Final segment of the afternoon. Right here on the Afternoon Underdogs, you're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves Country. Braves taking on the Red Sox tonight at 6 o'clock. First pitch, 6:10. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sponsored locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control. And we're live from the CBC Construction Studios. You can go to cbcconstruction.com or give them a call at 850-747-3815. Now live with us on the Red 7T's phone line, we've got Coach Butch Bernard. Coach, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Oh, doing well,
Awesome.
doing
Thanks a lot.
well. Yeah, it was a great evening last night for yourself and the North Bay Haven Buccaneers. Congratulations on that big win versus Baldwin last night. What would you say in that 6-3 win was the difference maker last night?
Well, the difference maker was coming out and just punching them in the mouth is where the difference maker was. I mean, we you know, they got the one run on us, and then we come out in the first inning and get runs on the board, and we actually left runners on base and kind of felt like that we should have been doing more throughout the game, and we're hoping that it wouldn't come back to haunt us. But, you know, just punching them in the mouth and getting their ace out of the game was the big turning point for us.
Yeah, and y'all rushed her out in second inning, or maybe was it top third or bottom third?
It may have been the second inning. I can't really remember, but you had the feeling. I don't want to predict anything, but you had the feeling that they were through when that happened, because their number two didn't have many innings under her. She didn't have the velocity, and you just had the feeling that if this is our moment, it's coming tonight.
Hey, there you go. And the Buccaneers did put up 3 in that first inning and then 2 in the second. And that's really all they needed from there on out. But it was a great game. And, man, I just love the energy on both sides. But that North Bay Haven crowd was raucous last night. Addison Mallon last night was not only great from the circle, but she also had 2 hits and 2 runs to help her case. What did you see from Mallon last night in the circle?
Well, there was 1 or 2 times where it looked like that she was starting to lose velocity and spin. But, this is the 4th time I'm going to say it today. She is a freaking blue-collar worker, man. She she gets it behind her, and next thing you know, she's back on top of her game, and she's producing offense, she's producing defense, and I mean, you can't ask for a better kid to lead a team on the mound. She gets the respect. I mean, I know you've seen the video of her head first sliding everywhere she goes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's just 100% energy.
She is a hustler, and she had a complete game last night. 4 hits, gave up 3 runs, 7 walks, but also 7 strikeouts as well. And then also late in the game, 6th inning, you made the decision to intentionally walk 6th and the 7th inning to intentionally walk Ramos Merced, number 21 for Baldwin, who you mentioned last night at the end of the game. She had 10 home runs, which is right up there with Kaylee Goodpaster.
Right, right. She's every bit the hitter that Kaylee is. I mean, they're different types of hitters, but she's a slugger, man. She can bring it. She's a death threat.
So after you make that decision last night, then they end up Baldwin ends up getting the bases loaded. And when you made that decision, I was like, oh, she's got to be a heavy hitter, because this is the right time to make it. You're not going to make that decision in the 1st and 2nd inning or 3rd inning and just, walking their power hitter just for the sake of it. But when it comes down to clutch time, you made that gutsy decision. What were your nerves like when the bases got loaded?
I felt like we could walk, we could get out of that thing. First of all, that was Eloy's decision, my assistant. He calls pitches, and I 100% supported both walks.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, I said, well, what are you about to do? Because, I mean, she took it to defense twice in earlier bats. And both times I felt like she kind of missed it, that she didn't get everything on that she wanted on it. So, we're at a part of the game, even though if it would have been, the first walk would have been if it was a solo shot, it's like, why give them momentum?
Mm-hmm.
And, she's got a little size to her, so she's athletic, but she's by no means the speedster on that team. So we're like, crap, why not? Why not walk her? Why not jam up the bases and just see how this thing goes? And, Eloy said, that's what I'm doing. And I said, hey, 100%, you're reading my mind. And so that's the route we took.
Hey, that is what good cohesion on the coaching staff brings to the table. Coach, how impressed are you by this squad this year and y'all's run that you've had to this point? Only having 3 seniors on the entire roster, how impressed have you been with them?
Well, we knew last year it was a good young squad. Now, eventually, it's gonna come back, and they're gonna age up, and next thing you know, we'll have a lot of these kids gone. But I'm impressed with them. I mean, the way they work together, the way they play for each other, the sisterhood that they have is unmatched by anything else that I've ever had.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. On the Red 7T phone line with us is Coach Butch Bernard out of North Bay Haven. Big win last night against Baldwin, 6-3 to advance to the Final Four. Now, you kind of said last year you knew that this team was special, but at what point in this season did you know how special this softball squad was?
Probably when we finished the tournament in Dothan, where we went what was it, 5-3 or 4-3 over there? 3-3, I guess is what it was. We played 6 games, lost 3 to some of the best teams in the state of Alabama. Matter of fact, the team we lost to in the championship game of that tournament ended up being, I believe, Class 6A Alabama state champs. One of the teams that we beat in the tournament, 10-0, became the 1A state Alabama champs. Getting the win over Wakulla in the 11 innings, that was special. So you put a couple of those things together in a process of about 3 weeks, and you're like, wait, man, we got something here.
Coach,
we got something that can compete right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun to watch them too. And like you said, it seems like you got a bunch of blue collar workers there on your squad.
There are, but Addie leads it, buddy. She leads the charge on that.
And you got to have. It's great to have a leader who is blue collar like that as well. And then leading by example is the best way to lead. Where does this team rank, Coach, among the other teams that you've coached in softball?
I've always got to hold a little bit of love for the 2020 squad because we had state playoffs in our focus that year. But I tell you, I'd like to see them both play. I think I may have. Let's see, Kaylee Goodpasture may have been a fifth grader. She may have been a manager for us on that team.
Wow!
So it's kind of two different teams that I would love to see them on the field to see what we got.
Ooh, there you go, a little.
Now this team's a lot better hitting team than that team was. But you had Katie Walters on the mound, so I mean I would really love to see that game.
Yeah, a little blue-on-blue Buccaneer action. That would be fun. Maybe you need to have a little alumni game coming up next season.
I'm telling you, the alumni don't want none of this smoke. They don't.
There you go. Coach, tell us about the dynamic that you and it's Coach Estrada, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Eloy Estrada.
Tell us about the dynamic that y'all two have to coach these girls up, not just winning, but the right way. And it's just a two-man coaching staff.
That's it. We've got, last guess, about 30 kids in our program when you count JV and varsity. Eloy's the backbone. He's one of the best hitting instructors in the area, and I think it shows with our stats. And we approach it with, hey, what are the things in the sport that you are good at? What are the things I'm good at? Neither one of us try to be overbearing. It's almost like a coach 1A and a coach 1B.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still got my face on it, and I still, have the responsibility of the program. But, I mean, he has free reign to do the things he needs to do. And if there's conflicts that we have, we try to discuss them before we put them out there to the team so that we're on the same page. But we are, whatever you want to call it, we're in unison with whatever we're trying to explain or teach or develop with the kids.
Awesome, yeah, and you could tell that too, just being in the dugout with you guys for the first time ever, and just seeing how y'all work together. It's great stuff for sure. Talk about this season, Kaylee Goodpasture. She's going to be headed to Florida State, not this year, but after next year.
Yeah,
but talk about the season.
A little bit.
Talk about the season that she's had. I mean, the numbers are insane. I went back and just have looked at her career. She's been playing since 6th grade, right? But the numbers are insane. What area would you say, Coach, that she has improved the most in?
Wow, it's hard to say because she has a well-rounded game. I don't know if I want to be put on the spot with that.
All right, you can plead the fifth.
I'll plead the fifth. Hey, one more year. Get with me in about 18 months.
All right.
We'll talk about it then.
That sounds good. We'll revisit whenever y'all get back to the Final Four next year. Who are some of the other ladies on the roster that's making a big impact for Buccaneer softball this year at North Bay Haven?
Well, I can give you my first 6 batters. I mean, it starts right there. You got Allie Brady that leads it off, and Mallin's right behind her, and Gladden's behind her, and then you got Goodpasture, and golf probably has one of the tougher jobs because she has to bat behind Goodpasture, and oftentimes they pitch around or walk Kaylee, and so they're thinking they're coming to the freshman for to hopefully get her to choke or do whatever, and there's many times that in the Wakulla game she made Wakulla pay for it whenever they walked to a Goodpasture because she ended up getting important RBIs. So you got her, and then we got another freshman right behind her that doesn't get a whole lot of press, but Chloe Hill, she knocked in the winning run against Bozeman in the region semifinals. So I mean, we got 6 in the lineup. It's pretty hard to compete with, and we got some players that are coming off the bench. Haley Shaw, she's mostly being used as a DP right now, but she's executing plays and getting important RBIs or getting on base when she needs to. So they just keep handing the bat to someone else, and hopefully it rolls right back around to the top, and then, here we go again.
Coach, I've got 30 seconds left before we got to get to the Atlanta Braves. What's next for the North Bay Haven Buccaneers softball squad?
Really don't know. There was a 6A game that was supposed to be played last night, and the state's not putting out any of the brackets till after that game. So I have a gut feeling it will be Westminster. I have a gut feeling we'll be in either the 2 or the 3 spot. But, if anyone knows how to figure out this FHSAA rankings, I'd love to talk to them for a little bit.
Me too.
Mount Verde, they were like the number 2 and ranked high in the nation. They got upset last night, so it kind of opened the door and kind of, every year you got to have a little bit of luck if you're going to make it a little bit further. And, we're kind of hoping that that's our little bit of luck that we needed, not having to go through 2 powerhouses. So, we're just sitting back and waiting.
Hey, well, good luck on the road ahead. Coach, thanks for your time as well, and go Buccaneers.
Hey, next time, just come on in the door. You ain't got to have no invitation. There's plenty of room for you.
All right, thanks. That's Coach Butch Bernard with North Bay Haven. They are headed to the Final Four. We are out of time. Your Atlanta Braves are coming up next. Just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I. You'll have a great weekend.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Let's go to Dwayne up next. Hey, I want to know why Alabama, all y'all Alabama fans and stuff, didn't sue the NFL to send Jalen Milroe up there. Everybody in the world knows Jalen Milroe was no first-round pick.